Passage of H.R. 3616, the motion to recommit H.R. 6703, passage of H.R. 6703 if ordered, the motion to recommit H.R. 3492, and passage of H.R. 3492 if ordered. First electronic vote will be conducted as a 15-minute vote pursuant to Clause 9 of Rule 20. Remaining electronic votes will be conducted as 5-minute votes. Pursuant to Clause 8 of Rule 20, the unfinished business is the vote on adoption of House Concurrent Resolution 61, on which the yeas and nays are ordered. The clerk will report the title of the concurrent resolution.
House Concurrent Resolution 61, concurrent resolution directing the President, pursuant to Section 5C of the War Powers Resolution, to remove United States Armed Forces from hostilities with presidentially designated terrorist organizations in the Western Hemisphere.
The question is an adoption of the concurrent resolution. Members will record their votes by electronic device. This is a 15-minute vote.
To remove
On this vote, the yeas are 210 and the nays are 216. The concurrent resolution is not adopted. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. Pursuant to Clause 8 of Rule 20, the unfinished business is the vote on the adoption of House Concurrent Resolution Number 64, on which the yeas and the nays are ordered. The clerk will report the title of the concurrent resolution.
House Concurrent Resolution 64, concurrent resolution to direct the removal of United States Armed Forces from hostilities within or against Venezuela that have not been authorized by Congress.
The question is on adoption of the concurrent resolution. Members will record their votes by electronic device. This is a 5-minute vote.
On this vote, the yeas are 211, the nays are 213. The concurrent resolution is adopted. Not adopted. Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid upon the table. Pursuant to Clause 8 of Rule 20, the unfinished business is the vote on passage of H.R. 3616, on which the yeas and nays are ordered. The clerk will report the title of the bill.
Union Calendar Number 256, H.R. 3616, a bill to require the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission to review regulations that may affect the reliable operation of the bulk power system.
The question is on passage of the bill. Members will record their votes by electronic device. This is a 5-minute vote. On this vote, the yeas are 225, the nays are 203. The bill is passed. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid on the table. Pursuant to Clause 8 of Rule 20, the unfinished business is a question on agreeing to the motion to recommit on H.R. 6703, offered by the gentlewoman from Illinois, Ms. Underwood, on which the yeas and nays were ordered. The clerk will redesignate the motion.
Motion to recommit H.R. 6703, offered by Ms. Underwood of Illinois.
The question is on agreeing to the motion to recommit. Members will record their votes by electronic device. This is a 5-minute vote. On this vote, the yeas are 210 and the nays are 218. The motion is not adopted. The question is on passage of the bill. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it. For what purpose, the gentleman from Ohio?
Press the yeas and the nays.
The yeas and nays are requested. Those favoring a vote by the yeas and nays will rise. A sufficient number having risen, the yeas and nays are ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic device. This is a 5-minute vote. On this vote, the yeas are 216, the nays are 211. The bill is passed without objection. The motion to reconsider is laid upon the table. Pursuant to Clause 8 of Rule 20, the unfinished business is the question on agreeing to the motion to recommit on H.R. 3492 offered by the gentlewoman from Vermont, Miss Ballot, on which the yeas and nays were ordered. The clerk will redesignate the motion.
Motion to recommit H.R. 3492, offered by Ms. Ballot of Vermont.
The question is on agreeing to the motion to recommit. Members will record their vote by electronic device. This is a 5-minute vote. On this vote, the yeas are 210, the nays are 218. The motion is not adopted. The question is on passage of the bill. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it.
Mr. Speaker,
For what purposes the gentlewoman from Vermont seek recognition?
I ask for the yeas and nays.
The yeas and nays are requested. Those favoring a vote by the yeas and nays will rise. A sufficient number having risen, the yeas and nays are ordered. Members will record their votes by electronic device. This is a 5-minute vote. On this vote, the yeas are 216, the nays are 211. The bill is passed without objection. The motion to reconsider is laid on the table. Others can find them, but we can start. Just like- You want me to start? For the purpose of the gentleman from Arizona, seek recognition.
Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent that when the House adjourns today, it adjourns to meet at 9 a.m. tomorrow.
Without objection. The House will be in order. The chair will now entertain requests for 1-minute speeches. What purpose does the gentleman from Pennsylvania seek recognition?
To address the House for 1 minute and revise and extend my remarks, and the House is not in order.
The gentleman is correct. The House is not in order. Please take your conversations off the floor. The House will be in order. Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to congratulate the Kiwanis Club of Lock Haven, Pennsylvania on its 100th anniversary. Since the club's founding on January 26, 1926, the members of the Kiwanis Club have been a crucial part of the community in Lock Haven. The club has 43 members, and it works to help children by improving literacy rates, health, and educational outcomes. Lock Haven Kiwanis sponsored 2 key clubs, one at Central Mountain High School and the other at Jersey Shore High School. It awards annual scholarships to key club members at both schools. The club recently started a Bringing Up Grades, or BUG, program at the Robb Elementary School in Lock Haven, and also partners with Sleep in Heavenly Peace to build and deliver beds to children and youth who do not have beds. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the Lock Haven Kiwanis Club for 100 years of dedicated service to the Lock Haven community and wish them the best as they work towards many more. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman yields back. For what purpose does the gentlelady from California seek recognition?
Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentlelady is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's hard to think of anyone more remarkable and excellent in every field and endeavor than those pursued by Rob and Michelle Reiner. Rob was creative, funny, and beloved, and Michelle, successful in her own right, was an indispensable partner, intellectual resource, and loving wife. Personally, Rob and Michelle were first and foremost very loving parents. Rob cared deeply about people and demonstrated in the community beyond family, whether by supporting the First Five Initiative. First Five Initiative, he took money from the tobacco tax and applied it to the first 5 years of a child's birth. Children born in California, my own grandchild, has a packet that they take home and teaches them how to care for an infant child. And also for fighting against the discriminatory Proposition 8. Civically, he was a champion for the First Amendment and the creative rights artist, and professionally, he was an iconic figure in film who made us laugh, cry, and think with the movies he created. Paul and I and our Italian family mourn the loss of our dear friends and pray for his loved ones. His children, Jake and Romy, put out a statement thanking everyone for their good wishes, but asking for privacy. We respect that. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I want to have you apply a fuller statement for the record of the great life achievements, beautiful love of community of Rob and Michelle Reiner. I just want to say three things. Do you recognize this? I can't even do it
Without
because
objections, admitted
I'm
for the
getting
record,
too
the gentlelady's
emotional.
time has
But it's in the
expired.
record. It's the things that have been said in his movies. I'll have what she's having. You can't handle the truth as you wish, and go to 11. You know what that is? With that, Mr. Speaker, thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Gentlelady yields back. For what purpose does the gentleman from the great state of Tennessee seek recognition?
The gentleman from the greatest state of Tennessee seeks unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and revise and extend my remarks, Mr. Speaker.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute and only 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Hey, y'all hold it down back there. I don't come to your place of business. Be rude to y'all. I didn't go back behind the Capitol and they were crushing aluminum cans earlier. And I said, hey, y'all, I didn't get in their way. Mr. Speaker, I rise to honor my dear friend Johnny Wayne Ferris, who was recently nominated as candidate for Time Magazine Dealer of the Year. He is also being recognized nationally by Time for his community service and industry accomplishments. Johnny Wayne Ferris is the president of Ferris Motor Company and founded by his grandfather in 1929. Ferris grew up in the industry and joined the company full-time in 1972 when I was in the second grade, Mr. Speaker. After graduating from Tennessee Tech University, Ferris Motor Company mission is to be the dealer of the people, and he truly has accomplished that in his time with the company across Tennessee. Ferris has an honorable record of humanitarian aid and philanthropy as well. He has shipped over 140 containers of humanitarian assistance over the last 12 years to support East Tennessee families and refugees at home and abroad. Johnny Wayne Ferris is not only a great businessman, he is in my fraternity Sigma Chi, he's also even a better member of this community, helping anyone and everyone he can. I want to congratulate my dear friend Johnny Wayne Ferris and thank him for all that he's done for East Tennessee and me and my family. Thank you, Johnny Wayne. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Pennsylvania seek recognition?
Madam Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentlewoman is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This month, my community, Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, lost a giant, Jean E. Corrigan. Whenever I hear the term grassroots or boots on the ground, I think of Jean. She believed wholeheartedly and full-throatedly in democratic values and devoted her life to them. It didn't matter if it was for a school board or the American president. Jean gave herself entirely to candidates she believed in. She led by example, always willing to knock doors, make calls, volunteer at polling places. She served on countless committees and was vice chair of her local party, the Abington-Rockledge Democratic Committee. Her front porch was an election season hub of lawn signs, literature, lists, listening sessions on the latest intel. And all the while, Jean was a devoted wife and mother. Her husband, Pete, and children, Joe, Dave, and Pauline, and her beautiful granddaughters were lucky to have them in her corner. I was lucky to have Jean in my corner, too. And we were all lucky that the Corrigans shared Jean and her many talents with us. May God bless Jean Corrigan. She taught us well. I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from North Carolina seek recognition? Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today marks a monumental day for the Lumbee tribe of North Carolina, the effects of which will transcend generations. The Lumbee have fought tirelessly for decades to achieve full recognition by the U.S. Congress. Today, that day has arrived. The Lumbee Fairness Act, which I offered as an amendment to the National Defense Authorization Act, will soon head to the President's desk as part of the annual defense bill for his signature, providing full federal recognition. This is a historic milestone, decades in the making, and a moment of celebration for a community that has never wavered in its resolve. This amazing achievement would not have been possible without the steadfast leadership of Chairman John Lowry and generations of Lumbee. Their voice has been heard, and their commitment and perseverance has brought us to this historic moment. I also want to commend and thank President Trump for his tremendous support, our current Senators Tom Tillis and Ted Budd, as well as former Senators Elizabeth Dole and Richard Burr, in addition to my many colleagues here in the House who continually supported this effort. So, Madam Speaker, I thank them all, for the Lumbee are great and honorable people who deserve federal recognition with all the rights and benefits that come with it. I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from New Jersey seek recognition? Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Madam Speaker, I rise today to honor my dear friend Donald Payne Jr. on what would have been his 67th birthday. There were a few differences between Donald Payne and myself. We often got confused. His birthday was on the 17th, mine was on December 13th. He came from North Jersey, I come from South Jersey. I served the 1st District, he served the 10th District. But what mattered most is what we had in common. We both fought for families in the state of New Jersey. Don brought to New Jersey the values of what we were to be from New Jersey each and every day. He was tough. For those of you who knew him, he had dialysis in the morning and would come here in the afternoon and continue to work. For anybody who's ever been through dialysis, that was tough, and he knew it. And we owe him a great debt of gratitude for coming to work each and every day. And I will always remember him for his kindness, his compassion, his open heart. And I will be forever grateful for his friendship. From one Don to another from New Jersey, we miss you and your bow tie.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Florida seek recognition?
Madam Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to address this body for 1 minute and to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Madam Speaker, we all know the simple joy of a glass of sweet tea. Refreshing, comforting, a lift to the spirit. Tanelia Sweet Tea Anderson of Fernandina Beach, Florida, brought that same sweetness into every room she entered. This week, at the age of 86, she passed away peacefully, surrounded by friends and family. And today, I honor her life of service. Sweet Tea was a devoted wife and mother, a clown, a business owner, and a woman of deep faith. I would often see her at the hospital dressed as her alter ego, Luciana the clown, with her husband Don as Hambone, visiting sick kids, reminding us that healing begins with kindness and connection. Even up until her death, she was working with my office to protect children. Our thoughts are with her husband Don, daughter Kim, granddaughters Brooke and Ashley, and her entire family. Madam Speaker, Sweet Tea's life was like her name, a steady sweetness that brightened every day, and her legacy will continue to inspire. You will be missed, Sweet Tea. I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Missouri seek recognition?
Madam Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
As the holidays roll around, I want to say this to folks across the St. Louis region. This season isn't just about what's under the tree, it's about who we show up for. There's a lot happening in the world right now. Some of it's heavy, but at home I see a community that still believes in looking out for one another, especially our children. And not every child has the stability they deserve through no fault of their own. When families can't carry that load alone, the rest of us have to help. That's what organizations like the Foster and Adoptive Care Coalition do every day. And it's what Annie Malone has done for generations, helping young people aging out of the system find their footing. So as we celebrate with the people we love, I hope we also think about how we can help others. That's how we make this season matter. Happy holidays, St. Louis. I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Wisconsin seek recognition?
Madam Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Madam Speaker, I rise today to honor the life of Ernest Stevens, Jr., a proud citizen of the Oneida Nation of Wisconsin, who sadly passed away recently. For more than 2 decades, Ernie Stevens served as chairman of the Indian Gaming Association, where he was elected to 13 consecutive terms. Under his leadership, tribal government gaming grew into the largest segment of the U.S. gaming industry, generating more than $43 billion annually and supporting healthcare, housing, education, and jobs in Native communities. He also served his own nation as a member of the Oneida Business Committee and was a steadfast advocate for tribal sovereignty, always reminding us that tribal gaming was about building nations, not just business. Beyond his professional achievements, he was a mentor, a family man, and a source of inspiration to countless young leaders. He leaves behind his wife, Cheryl, their 5 children, and 20 grandchildren. Madam Speaker, the people of Green Bay, the Oneida Reservation, and all of Indian Country mourn the loss of this remarkable leader. May his memory continue to inspire generations to come. With that, Madam Speaker, I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Arizona seek recognition?
Madam Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentlewoman is recognized for 1 minute.
Only in the United States of America do we now have college students who have survived not 1, but 2 school shootings. That is the reality for students at Brown University right now. Students like Zoe Weissman, who was a middle schooler at the school next to Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School during the Parkland Massacre, and years later found herself again facing an active shooter on a college campus. And Mia Tretta, who was shot as a teenager at Sages High School, survived and now has lived through yet another school shooting at Brown. Let that sink in. 2 shootings in 1 lifetime, all before graduating college. We cannot allow ourselves to become numb to this. This level of trauma is not normal, it is not inevitable, and it is not acceptable. If we are serious about protecting young people in America, Congress must act now. That means universal background checks, a ban on assault weapons designed for mass killing, cracking down on ghost guns, and investing in mental health and safe storage policies grounded in data. I'll say it again, this is not inevitable. Thank you, I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Georgia seek recognition? Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Madam Speaker, I rise today to honor the bicentennial celebration of Lowndes County, Georgia. 200 years ago, the Georgia State Legislature established Lowndes County, named after a prominent lawyer and congressman from South Carolina. The area quickly became a haven for settlers seeking opportunity and prosperity, evolving with the times while never losing its sense of community. From moving entire towns to meet the railroad's arrival in the 1850s to developing thriving industries like textiles, timber, and turpentine, the county's spirit of adaptability is evident throughout its history. Today, the county and the city of Valdosta are still thriving, being a critical hub for Georgia with Valdosta State University and having nicknames like Wintersville and Titletown. Not only does it have culture, but it offers thousands of acres of beautiful wetlands from the Grand Bay Swamp. These traditions, these values, and achievements make Lowndes County a shining example of Georgia's enduring spirit and a model community to be honored and emulated. Congratulations on 200 years, Lowndes County. Here's to 200 more. Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from New York seek recognition?
Madam Speaker, I ask for unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute, to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Any day now, the Supreme Court will issue a ruling on whether the President can impose tariffs under the International Emergency Economics Powers Act. President Trump's tariff policies have hurt American small business, who often cannot absorb the cost of higher duties. Now, the economy is showing warning signs. Unemployment has risen to 4.6%, and small businesses shed 120,000 jobs in November alone. That is why I recently joined 20 of my colleagues in sending a letter to Treasury Secretary Bessent and Homeland Security Secretary Noem, urging both departments to dedicate resources to planning for the Supreme Court's decision. Proper planning is needed around an information campaign for small businesses on how to navigate the tariff protest process, ensuring that eligible tariff refunds are provided on an expedited basis. Without a plan, the complexity and time needed to pursue a refund will further burden small businesses. I urge the Trump administration to work quickly to guarantee that small businesses, the lifeline of our economy, are not left behind because of this erratic policy. Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Alaska seek recognition?
Madam Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Madam Speaker, I rise today to honor the extraordinary life and legacy of Earl Lackey, a pioneer of Alaska's motorsports community and the driving force behind Alaska Raceway Park. Earl's commitment to racing spans more than half a century. In the early 1960s, while stationed in Germany as an Army helicopter mechanic, he worked on a pit crew at the legendary Nürburgring. Those early days sparked a lifelong devotion to motorsports. He raced sports cars in Wisconsin before moving to Alaska in 1983, and in 1994, he helped purchase a small drag strip. By 1998, he became its sole owner. With his family, Earl built, literally by hand, the foundation of what would become the northernmost NASCAR-sanctioned track in the world. Anyone who's ridden an Earl's pace car knows the magic that he helped create in Alaska. Earl shaped a track that NASCAR calls a model for community racing. The raceway is a family endeavor. Karen, his wife at the ticket booth, his son Jim on the grounds, and his daughter Michelle managing operations. Together they built a gathering place where generations of racers, families, and visitors find excitement and camaraderie. Madam Speaker, we honor Earl's legacy for his vision, his perseverance, and the community he forged at Alaska Raceway Park. His legacy in the view of Alaska's Pioneer Peak will endure for generations to come. And with that, I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Illinois seek recognition?
Madam Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute, revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Madam Speaker, I rise to express condolences to Illinois Lieutenant Governor Juliana Stratton and her family on the passing of her father, Dr. Henry Wiggins, a renowned physician, military veteran, and health activist. I also express and convey condolences to the family of my good friend, Reverend Charles Bowers, who recently passed away last week at the age of 95. And on a happier note, I extend congratulations to my dear cousin and high school classmate, Cora Henderson, and her husband, Floyd, on the occasion of their 65th wedding anniversary. 65 years is a long time, and I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Florida seek recognition?
Madam Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Madam Speaker, I rise today to celebrate the 100th birthday of Mr. Carlos Manuel Halley, an extraordinary member of our South Florida community who embodies perseverance, family, and the pursuit of freedom. Born on November 4th, 1925 in Santiago de Cuba, Mr. Halley married Marcilia Mancebo de Halley and built a beautiful family. Following the Cuban Revolution, as a man of deep conviction who believed in liberty and democracy, Mr. Halley made the difficult decision to leave his homeland. Mr. and Mrs. Holly and their 5 children settled in Miami, determined to rebuild. Through his faith and perseverance, all of his children became professionals, and his legacy now extends to 56 family members. Surrounded by his family and loved ones, he celebrates this remarkable milestone. Mr. Holly remains full of life. He enjoys spending time with friends, charming everybody with his humor, and still proudly considers Burger King as his favorite restaurant. I ask my colleagues to join me in celebrating Mr. Carlos Manuel Holly and recognizing the strength of his faith, his love of freedom, and his deep devotion to family. Thank you, and I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Illinois seek recognition?
Seek unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Madam Speaker, over the weekend, 2 different countries experienced gun violence tragedies. In one, they targeted a Hanukkah celebration, and the other, they targeted students in an engineering classroom. Both of these countries were founded by Europeans who landed on a large landmass, took control from the natives with their superior arms, and developed a cowboy culture at the heart of their national ethos. One of those countries responded by acting like an adult. Having initiated gun buyback programs after their last tragedy, they're now working to further tighten gun regulation. The other one of these countries acted like a child. Our FBI director and president shared misinformation. The vice president suggested that the politics of one of the victims was the real tragedy. And the Republican Party remained committed to defending the rights of people who think it's fun to play with things that go bang bang. Gun violence is still the #1 cause of death among actual American children. They are dead because members of this chamber who claim to be adults keep acting like children. I would point out that the Brown University shooting was the 389th mass shooting in America this year. I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from California seek recognition? Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In my district, the wolf problem is not just some abstract issue. They're on the ground, they're creating real problems for a lot of people and a lot of wildlife. This past weekend in my district, gray wolves were seen dangerously close to the Little Shasta Elementary School right here in Siskiyou County. As a precaution, law enforcement was contacted, a local emergency was declared, and students were kept indoors for the entire school day, including recess and PE. That's an elementary school changed its daily operations because of predators in the area. This is exactly what I've been warning about. Federal policy has made wolves untouchable, even when they show up near homes, schools, and working lands. Local officials are left trying to manage this threat, the consequences while Washington bureaucracy tells them to wait. We have a bill, H.R. 845, the Pet and Livestock Protection Act, which is a giant step towards fixing this. It gives states and locals more authority to deal with the problem wolves before someone gets hurt. Ignoring this doesn't make it go away, it just makes it worse. Devouring wildlife and livestock with no compensation is not something just to be ignored. What, are we going to do kids next? I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Ohio seek recognition? Without objection, the gentlewoman is recognized for 1 minute.
Madam Speaker, it has been only 7 months since billionaire Elon Musk fled town and barely 1 month since his heartless Doge machine collapsed, yet the damage keeps spreading. Now the target is the U.S. Maritime Administration, MARAD, at the Department of Transportation. MARAD strengthens our maritime industry. It protects our economic and national security in our Great Lakes, our nation's third and longest coast. We rely on a strong, capable American shipping fleet. Our economy depends on it. MARAD supports 13 public and 50 commercial ports across the Great Lakes and the Great Lakes St. Lawrence Seaway. In my district in northwestern Ohio, the Port of Toledo and Sandusky Harbor connect us to global markets for energy, metals, farm commodities, and more. In 2024, South Bass Island and the Put-in-Bay Authority received $10,300,000 from MARAD to improve infrastructure, and they needed it. Our ports generate real dollars for families and jobs, nearly $900 million in annual economic activity and 8,000 jobs by the latest count. Apparently, this does not matter to the President and his administration. Unemployment has been rising. Let's be honest, DRP does not mean Deferred Resignation Program. It means destroy, ruin, and punish. Madam Speaker, stop this madness, protect merit, protect our ports, protect our workers, protect and grow jobs in America. I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Wisconsin seek recognition?
I'd like to ask unanimous consent to speak for a minute and revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you. I'd like to interject a little bit of common sense in the deportation debate we've had going on here. No one knows exactly how many people are in this country illegally. I think it's safe to say under President Biden that number went up by about 8 million, which means almost certainly it's over 15 million. There are some muddled up people here who claim that all we should do is remove the illegal immigrants if they are breaking the law. That obviously makes no sense. I applaud President Trump and Kristi Noem for trying to remove all people who are here illegally. Otherwise, we have no immigration law in the first place, right? If you come here illegally and all you have to do is avoid committing a serious crime, we have no country, and we will, in our next president, wind up getting another 8 to 10 million people crossing here, together with the increased welfare cost, housing cost, and government services it applies, and together with the change in culture in the United States away from the culture that we've had that's allowed America to go so long. Thank you, Donald Trump and Kristi Noem.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from New Mexico seek recognition?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Our diversity is what makes this country beautiful, and I ask for
Does the
unanimous
gentleman-
consent
does the
to address
gentlelady
the
ask
House
unanimous
for 1 minute.
consent to address the House?
Yes, Madam Speaker, I am asking for unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentlewoman is recognized for 1 minute.
Madam Speaker, imagine being so ideologically committed to destroying an imperfect health care bill that has helped millions of Americans access care over the last 15 years that you would block a vote, just a vote, to extend the life-saving credits that help keep millions of Americans on their health care. Imagine that you would block members of your own party from bringing an amendment to extend those credits, that those members would be forced to join all 214 Democrats to force a vote on the floor. And imagine that you would kill a motion to vote on that 1 day before you plan to send everyone home for the holiday. Well, welcome to Donald Trump's America and the Republican Congress, where the leadership would rather let children, seniors, veterans, and small businesses lose their health care than even take a vote. Well, thankfully, we have filed a discharge petition that will ripen in 7 legislative days, but we know that is not enough.
gentlewoman's time
and
has
so we are
expired.
calling on the leadership to call a vote
The
now.
gentlewoman's time has expired.
I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from California seek recognition? Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Madam Speaker, I rise today to recognize the extraordinary life of Colonel Vu Van Look, a South Vietnamese Army veteran and beloved community member and leader in San Jose, for his selfless dedication to Vietnamese refugees and to cultural preservation. Born in 1933 in northern Vietnam, Loc Vu and his family fled their homeland during the fall of Saigon, ultimately finding refuge in San Jose, California, the home of the largest community of ethnic Vietnamese of any city outside of Vietnam. Soon after arriving, Loc Vu founded the Immigrant Resettlement and Cultural Center to aid fellow refugees in rebuilding their lives. And over the next 4 decades, the IRCC became a lifeline to Vietnamese, Cambodian, and Laotian families throughout our region. He also founded, funded, and passionately led the creation of the Museum of the Boat People and of the Republic of Vietnam to ensure future generations understand the tremendous sacrifice, courage, and resilience of the thousands who came to our shores after the Vietnam War. Loc Vu passed away peacefully this November at the age of 92. I feel fortunate to have known Loc Vu for 2 decades and will miss our community's friend, mentor, and leader. His legacy lives on in the hearts of the more than 20,000 neighbors he has helped to support and lift. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I yield.
For what purpose does the gentleman from New Jersey seek recognition? Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Madam Speaker, today would have been Congressman Don Payne's Jr.'s 67th birthday, and Don was more than a colleague to me. He was family. He called me Uncle Frank, and that meant a lot to me. In the House, our names often appeared right next to each other on the voting board, Pallone, P-A-L, and Payne, P-A-Y. And many times when we were voting on civil rights, housing, or issues affecting urban communities, I would look to see how Don voted. Because for me, he was a conscience for our delegation, someone who grounded big national decisions in live reality. And Don dedicated his life to public service, from the Newark City Council to County Freeholder to Congress, and always it was trying to improve people's lives on health care, the environment, or public safety. So happy birthday, Don. Your legacy continues, and we're carrying the work forward. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from New Jersey seek recognition? Without objection, the gentlewoman is recognized for 1 minute.
Madam Speaker, I rise to wish a happy heavenly birthday to my predecessor in representing New Jersey's 10th Congressional District, the Honorable Donald Payne Jr. He served as Newark City Council President and went on to succeed his father in this body. Donald M. Payne Sr. was the first African-American elected in New Jersey's congressional delegation, and his son carried that legacy while blazing his own path. A leader on the House Committee on Transportation and Infrastructure, Mr. Payne secured critical investments that made rail travel in New Jersey safer and more affordable. In honor of his legacy that inspires my leadership and shapes my home district, today I introduced a bill to rename Newark Penn Station in his honor, the Donald M. Payne Jr. Transit Center at Newark Penn Station. Newark Penn is where so many workers start their mornings, where families reunite, where students, seniors, and commuters pass through every single day. When people walk into that station, they should know the name of a man whose work helped keep it moving. Happy birthday, Congressman Payne. We miss you. With that, I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from New Jersey seek recognition?
I request unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute and to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
I rise today to honor my friend and colleague, the late Congressman Donald Payne Jr., as we commemorate what would have been his 67th birthday. Donald and I were good friends and neighbors, both representing the cities of Newark and Jersey City together. A proud son of Newark, Congressman Payne dedicated his life to fighting for his neighbors, ensuring no one was left behind. In his decades of public service, Congressman Payne was among the most progressive voices in our country, fighting for every single American. But what I admired most about my colleague was the courage and bravery he displayed in making his battle with diabetes public so he could advocate for better treatments and solutions for the horrible disease that ultimately took him from us. And until the very end, Congressman Payne continued to fight for his constituents, introducing legislation to protect people with disabilities within our healthcare system. I miss my friend, I miss his style, I miss his flair, I miss his laugh. But I know that his spirit lives on and that we will continue the work he committed himself to. Happy birthday, Donald. We miss you, and we will always be better for the work and dedication that guided your years of service. I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentlewoman from Florida seek recognition? Without objection, the gentlewoman is recognized for 1 minute.
Madam Speaker, in just 14 days, hardworking families, seniors, and veterans across America will face the largest health care insurance premium increase in history, which will make health care unattainable for so many Americans. When health care becomes unattainable, it turns treatable illnesses into a death sentence. Americans will be forced to figure out their health care. For people with high blood pressure, diabetes, or heart disease, figuring it out means going without medication that is life-saving. This is cruel and simply unacceptable. Congress has the responsibility to act and finally make healthcare affordable for all Americans. Because a single mother in Lauderhill rationing her medication to keep the lights on is counting on us. The disabled veteran in Riviera Beach working 2 jobs is counting on us. The recent college grad in Tamarack who makes enough money only to pay rent is counting on us. We must deliver and extend the ACA tax credits because America is counting on us to survive, to thrive, and to have another chance. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from Texas seek recognition?
Madam Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized.
Madam Speaker, thank you very much. Today, I rise to honor the life and legacy of my good friend and former Fort Worth City Council member, Franklin Douglas Moss, better known as Frank Moss. Frank Moss was an incredible man. He worked in real estate and had his own real estate firm, Moss Red Group. He was so well known throughout the community for the work that he did in the Stop 6 area in the Carver Heights community in which he lived, and was just an incredible believer in the community, helping on maternal health issues, HIV awareness, preserving historic neighborhoods. He was an incredible person and a family with just such a long and distinguished legacy of service to the community, as his wife was one of our former school board members. But most of all, Frank Moss was the keeper of the Black history in Fort Worth, Texas. He knew about the first African-American politicians, doctors, lawyers, dentists, people that really helped change and shape Fort Worth for all. And he did such a tremendous job in sharing those stories. I know that he's going to be missed as a deacon at Ebenezer Missionary Baptist Church in Fort Worth, where he was a proud member. And we will all miss Frank, not just because of his work on the council, but because he really cared about making sure that stories in our community were elevated in Fort Worth and Tarrant County, and that is something that we will all truly miss, and my prayers go out to his family during this time. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
For what purpose does the gentleman from North Carolina seek recognition?
Madam Speaker, I ask for unanimous consent to address the House for 1 minute to revise and extend.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Madam Speaker, I rise to recognize and honor Thurston Quinn, who turned 100 years old. Mr. Quinn has been a central figure in our veterans community. He served in the 89th Infantry Division during World War II, fighting in France and Germany. He had a distinguished service career, receiving 2 Bronze Stars, a combat infantry badge, and an occupation badge. When the war ended, he returned home, and he continued to serve his community. Mr. Quinn's legacy is preserved at the Disabled American Veterans Office in Goldsboro, where the cafeteria bears his name. What a true American hero. And it was a pleasure to join his family, friends at his church to wish him a 100th birthday. I yield back.
For what purpose does the gentleman from New Jersey seek recognition?
Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to address the House floor for 1 minute.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Madam Speaker, last April, Jersey and our nation lost a dedicated father, husband, public servant, and just a real giant. I miss Don Payne, like we all do. As a member of Congress for nearly 14 years, son of Newark was an incredible champion for hardworking Jersey families. He fought for health care issues and fought to upgrade our transportation, rail, and infrastructure. But beyond that, he just was there for all of us. When I was first elected, Don showed me the ropes and shared his wisdom and gave me a good Jersey ribbon whenever he could. His great sense of humor and meaningful experience made it a true privilege to serve in the House with him. And then those suits. He was the man. A true family man. Don always beamed about his loved ones, and I'll miss him greatly, like we all do. As we mark today what would have been his 67th birthday, we remember the impact Don made on so many, not just in this great chamber, but across the Garden State and across our country. May his memory be a blessing. We miss you, Don.
Under the Speaker's announced policy of January 3rd, 2025, the gentleman from Utah, Mr. Moore, is recognized for 60 minutes as the designee of the Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, thank you. I ask unanimous consent that all members may have 5 legislative days in which to revise and extend their remarks and include extraneous material on the topic of this special order.
Without objection.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I am glad to be joined by several of my colleagues for this last conference special order of the year to talk about ways we have delivered for all Americans through our legislative action, committee work, and more. I understand some of my colleagues have commitments, and I want to be respectful of their time, so I'll have them start us off before I provide some of my own comments. And with that, I'd like to yield to the gentleman from Utah, good friend, Mr. Kennedy. I yield him so much time as he may consume.
Mr. Speaker, I thank my colleague from Utah for yielding and leading this important discussion on how Republicans are focusing on making health care more affordable for hardworking American families. We have taken action and are committed to doing more to fix the broken system of Obamacare that empowered big insurance at the expense of our taxpayers. As a family practice doctor for over 25 years, I hear directly from my patients about the skyrocketing cost of insurance and prescription drugs. Democrats promised Americans lower costs, more choices, and better care. More than a decade later, too many families are asking a simple question: what happened? Former President Obama, in pushing the ACA, promised that the bill would lower health care premiums by up to $2,500 per family per year. But since Obamacare went into effect, premiums have nearly tripled, and deductibles have more than doubled. The cost of coverage for a family of 4 has increased by more than $10,000. Back in July of this year, this Republican Congress passed the Working Families Tax Code Act. This important legislation puts more money back into the pockets of Americans and will help lower the cost of health care as well as child care. Thanks to the Working Families Tax Code Act, all bronze and catastrophic ACA marketplace plans are now considered high-deductible plans, allowing more people to contribute to health savings accounts. Health savings accounts can now be used to pay for direct primary care arrangements that cut out the middleman and allow patients to coordinate care directly with their chosen provider. High costs are not the only Obamacare failure. It also resulted in a major increase in fraud. A 2024 GAO investigation found that fake identities were approved for Obamacare subsidies at a 100% rate, often remaining enrolled despite missing or falsified information. In 2023, $21 billion in subsidies were paid out with no evidence of tax reconciliation. Taxpayers are left footing the bill as reused Social Security numbers, subsidies paid on behalf of deceased individuals, and billions in unreconciled payments expose a system unable to protect public funds. In the Working Families Tax Cuts Act, Republicans restored accountability and fairness to the healthcare marketplace through reforms that save taxpayers billions of dollars and drive down costs for everyone. Full income and eligibility verification before subsidies are issued, ensuring assistance goes only to those who qualify. We've ended any-time enrollment abuse that fueled fraudulent signups and drove premiums higher for everyone. We closed loopholes that allowed illegal immigrants and other ineligible groups to access taxpayer-funded health benefits. Many Americans have insurance on paper but still cannot afford to use it. I am committed, along with my Republican colleagues, to addressing the root cause of rising costs to provide real relief for taxpayers and families. I appreciate my congressional colleague from Utah for allowing me to have this time. With that, I yield back.